Hey everyone, thanks for watching our Commander's Brew Commander 2019 set review. This is the Rakdos deck, Merciless Rage, dealing with madness. Thanks for checking us out. Hit subscribe if you like these videos. Sean, why don't we get going?
Okay, let's start with the face of the deck. I feel like I started the last few, and why don't you introduce the world via who have not listened to other shows besides ours to this commander?
Okay, so starting off, the Rakdos Merciless Rage Madness deck is the cover girl, Angie.
Angie.
Angie? Do you think it's Angie?
I
thought it was Angie too.
Angie.
Yeah, I thought it was Angie, but I erred on the side of Ange.
I'm confident that's not how you're supposed to say it, but there's nothing funnier to me than giving weird magic creatures normal human earth names.
I know, me too. I have a cousin named Angie, and sometimes we call her Ange. So either one works for me. Angie Falconwrath. 1 black red for the 1/3 legendary vampire with haste. Tap. Discard a card, draw a card. So she's got Rummage. And whenever you discard a card, if it has madness, untap Angie Falconwrath. Angie Falconwrath is a pretty funny name.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like, I don't know. It's like, it's not Angela Falconwrath. It's Angie Falconwrath.
Yeah.
It's a short, fun version of it.
Tracy Falconwrath.
Yeah, Trace. Stacy Falconwrath. Anyways, I think seeing the madness cards that already exist, this doesn't excite me in a crazy way, but I'm very into seeing what they've included in the precons, as far as augmenting this madness deck.
Yeah, this is a very cool madness commander.
Yep.
Right? But I need to know what the madness cards are. That's entirely dependent on whether or not this is a good card.
I'm wondering, has there been some focus research done on the fact that we already why do it has to be a vampire? Does it have to be a vampire? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I guess madness is a vampire thing now, sure, but anyways, we got that other vampires. Is there something where it's you got to have vampires, you got to have cats? It's why did we get another cat commander? That's weird.
Yeah.
So many of those now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm just kind of that's weird.
Oh, we got our Sultai Ooze commander. Oh wait.
No, we didn't. Anyways, Angie Falconwrath. Let's see what else. I mean, this design is sleek. It's fine. It doesn't blow me away. Maybe perhaps it's a little underwhelming. We'll see. Anyways, let's take.
It's a fantastic enabler. You have to be able to enable madness. So this is exactly what you want in a madness commander. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Next up is Chainer Nightmare Adept, 2 black red, human minion, 3/2. Discard a card. You may cast a creature card from your graveyard this turn. Activate this ability only once each turn. So you are allowed to cast the creature that you discarded.
Yes.
Because this is a cost that gives you the ability to cast sometime this turn. You don't have to do it right away. Mm-hmm. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if you didn't cast it from your hand, aka using the ability, it gains haste until your next turn. So basically, free haste on everything. Because you're just going to discard it and cast it right from your graveyard if you want. That's
right. And oddly enough, this won't work for madness creatures.
It won't,
because as you're
the card you're discard it won't work
for the ones you discarded. You're right. But then if you cast another one from your graveyard, it will work.
Yeah, I can discard an instant that does damage and cast it for its madness cost. And Chainer has already checked the box that I've discarded a card. Mm-hmm. So I'm allowed to cast an entirely different creature from my graveyard.
Yeah, I just thought it would be it would somehow really specifically benefit madness.
It's a madness enabler, right?
It's a madness enabler. You're right. And that is good. And I actually kind of like this card a bit more.
I mean, it's also a reanimator enabler in the sense that, maybe you don't go madness. Maybe you just, this is a reanimator deck, and I have a built-in way to get creatures from my hand to my graveyard. And it allows you to run a lot of, smaller creatures, because I'm sure, I'm going to dump these and just cast them straight from the graveyard. And
this is very close in ability to Carador, right? Like you can like it has a cost of obviously discarding a card, but like that's a good cost to be paying in a deck like this. Yeah. So you're discarding a card. You can cast any card from your hand at that point, or from your graveyard at that point, once per turn. Same thing as Carador. Like, but plus this guy gives it. Hey, so you're sacrificing that like damage or a cost reduction thing that Carador does, which is obviously like a pretty broken mechanic. I understand why they're not including that anymore. But so Chainer in some ways is like the Rakdos version of that, and you can build probably a pretty similar deck around it, which seems good. I love the haste. I like this. I like this as a Rakdos Reanimator style. This is cool.
Yeah, who's that creature that if it hits you, your life total goes to 1?
Oh, it's a demon. Yeah.
But like, I mean, that seems like a fun one to just be like, oh, and by the way, I'm going to pitch this and then cast it, and it has haste, and I'm attacking you.
All the Kalia players know it because
yes,
they all run that card. Something of it's like something of fears or fear or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, yeah. I think this is again neat design. The discarding a card and then casting it, like, that's awesome. You know, Madness Enabler, all that stuff. Very cool. I'm excited for the new Chainer. I'm here for new Chainer. I'm here for him. Let's take a look at Grevin, Predator Captain. It's the next one. Grevin is a wicked name.
Grevin.
Grevin is an existing character in Magic. Grevin already has a card.
He looks like the Weatherlight. He's got the same business as Gerard.
He's one of the Ilvec or whatever.
Okay.
If you look up Grevin on like one of the searches, you'll see.
I have a Grevin GPS system in my car.
Yeah, they're a really popular tech company in the early 2000s. Grevin. They sold a lot of flat screen tube TVs. Grevin. Yeah. Commander Grevin Ilvec is the original card. It was a mono black commander. That not a great commander, but it's cool to see like an older character come back, much like Chainer as well. Anyways, Grevin Predator Captain, the current version here, is 3 black red for legendary human warrior 5/5 with menace. Grevin gets +X+0, where X is the amount of life you've lost this turn, and whenever Grevin attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, you draw cards equal to that creature's power, and you lose life equal to that creature's toughness.
So it pumps himself.
I see. So you attack with the 5/5 with menace. You sacrifice a 3/3. You draw 3 cards and you lose 3 life, and Grevin becomes an 8/5.
So
not bad.
Grevin can very easily one-shot players to death with commander damage.
That is true. Yes. Yeah. Depending on what you have on the board. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that makes him so dangerous.
Yeah.
And also, like, draw the cards to re-up for the next turn, right? Like, don't forget that.
This is a fantastic Rakdos commander.
Yeah, this is an awesome Rakdos commander.
Wow.
I love how we're both, like, slowly realizing it as we read more about it, too.
Yeah.
Like, at first, we're like, oh, yeah, pretty good. Okay. Oh, ups the toughness. Okay, that's good. Or ups rather the power. Oh, draw some cards. Oh, okay. Oh, this is very good. Yeah, no, it's
got menace.
I love it. I think this is really good.
Wow.
I mean, not much else to say. It works within the color so well. It's something we haven't really seen, this combination of abilities. I love that it works in and of itself. You can also add stuff to like you don't have to make it, like you can do it yourself, right? Like you can pay life at instant speed or something to pump them up even more.
Well, there's that wall. There's like a wall that regenerates by paying 1 life or something like that. Or Wall of Blood, pay 1 life gives it +1/+0. If you have that on board, it's like, if you don't block it, I will pay enough life to do 21 commander damage to you right now.
You're also losing 21 life that way.
Yeah, so I'm putting a Whip of Erebos, so now I'm also getting lifelink, so I'll just get it right
so
back.
Now you have a Whip of Erebos too, do you?
Of course,
but for real, that is actually a great, that's a great way to build this commander, it seems like. So
this commander is cool enough that I almost I'm going to resist disrespectfully calling him Kevin.
How could you, like, why would you ever dumb down the coolness of the name Grevin with Kevin?
Kevin Predator Captain.
I'm gonna go around calling everyone I know whose real name is Kevin Grevin from now on.
Oh, in reverse?
I'm gonna do it the other way.
Oh man.
Grevin Whalen, you're out there.
Grevin Whalen.
Grevin Vidal. Okay.
Yeah.
Friends of ours. Okay. Who's our I guess we don't have a dual color commander.
Well, we're gonna drop a color though. It's the same
we're
pattern.
gonna drop a color.
We're gonna drop a color. We got a mono black commander. This is Crick, son of Yawgmoth.
Crick.
Crick.
Oh man, do you know? Do you know the Devo song, Whip It?
Yep, I know
right?
it's Whip It. Whip it good.
Step on a crick. Son of Yawgmoth's back. Yeah. That is how, go listen to that song. Go listen to Whip It, and when they say, step on a crick, like, this is exactly the spelling of that in that song. Step on a crick.
So, son of Yawgmoth. Yawgmoth is Crick's dad. Yawgmoth had a kid and was like, what should we name this kid? How about Crick?
Crick.
Maybe he named him Rick, but he's just like, no, I'm Crick.
Crick.
Katie Crick.
Katie Crick.
These names have been getting funnier and funnier.
I know. They really, man, they crushed it with the actual commander design and the names. It's really great.
So, okay, so this is, Crick costs 4 Phyrexian black. So you can pay 4 black, or 4 generic and 6 life. You don't have to pay any black mana to cast this, or you can pay a combination. It has lifelink and it starts as a 2/2. That's very expensive for a 2/2, but I think the assumption is it's a 4 mana 2/2 that you have to pay 6 life to cast. For each black in a cost, you may pay 2 life rather than pay that mana. It essentially turns all black pips to Phyrexian.
Yeah, in a cost.
In a cost. Whenever you cast a black spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Crick. So in a mono black deck, this will get very big, but also, like, the fact that it has lifelink, you can start just banking. It's like, well, the next 2 or 3 pips I pay for will get covered by my attack with Crick, and like, this is fantastic. And we cannot.
And don't forget, like, as you're more casting things and paying life for them, Crick's getting more +1/+1 counters, and therefore you're getting more life, and so on.
And so, like we just got Vilis, Broker of Blood, where you're paying 2 life to draw a card. No, I'm wrong. You're paying black to draw a card, but every time you lose, how does that work again? Basically, the thing I'm thinking of, whenever you lose life with Vilis, you draw a card for that much life. So now you're casting things for paying life as well as drawing cards with Vilis in tandem.
So Vilis is black and pay 2 life.
I see.
And no, that's the -1/-1 ability. He says whenever you lose life, draw that many cards.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna have Crick. I'm gonna pay for a black pip by paying 2 life, but also draw 2 cards because of Vilis. Yeah. And I'm gonna cast one of those by paying some life. I'm gonna need some life gain in this deck. That's for sure.
Yeah, you're not playing. I don't think you're really playing Crick without having a bit of lifelink in there. Just seems like.
That would be foolish.
But I'm sure smarter and more knowledgeable players than me have already thought of the crazy infinite combos. I know the only one someone pointed out that I saw on Reddit was Scholar of Athreos.
Oh yeah, where you get extra turns.
No. Scholar of Athreos is the 2 and a white 1/4 that has 2 and a black. Each opponent loses 1 life. You gain life equal to the life lost this way.
Oh.
So if you have, I mean, it's an Esper deck, but if you have the blue thing that lessens the cost of activated abilities by 2, you all of a sudden are just, that's infinite kill everyone. I know like 3-card infinite combos aren't anything overpowered or anything. I'm just saying like
Well,
that is a possibility.
but
That's
I
kind of
think
interesting.
you've also highlighted how amazing this makes extort, because like you can pay 2 life to extort, you'll probably get all of that or more back. So like every extort is just amazing.
Yeah. Is that how that for each black in a cost? And I guess the
Extort is a cost. That's black
Yeah.
or white.
Right? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so I like this is it's so funny that they talked about they're basically never reprinting Phyrexian mana, and then it's like, well, this is Commander. We can do something completely broken.
Yeah.
And I wonder I'm interested to see what the like competitive people do with this. I'm interested to see if this card somehow becomes a problem. I feel like it's got enough mana involved and a lot of like I don't know. I bet you life won't be a problem for this deck. So I wonder if this is going to be a problem in the future. Just because Phyrexian mana always is, right? Like
Yeah.
always is a problem. So I'm going to go on record right now. It's a hot take, scalding hot take. This card will be a problem.
Yeah.
This card will be a problem in the future.
Yeah,
And
anytime creatures enter the battlefield that gains you life, you can use that to offset casting things for free, and you can just,
Yeah.
I think Villas is part of that combo.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet you can do some crazy stuff there. All right. Well, let's take a look at the rest of the deck, though. We talked about, like, I specifically talked about kind of reserving my judgment about Angie until seeing some of these madness cards. So let's take a look. The first one here is Archfiend of Spite. 5 black for a 6/6 flying demon. Whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to Archfiend of Spite, that Archfiend of Sprite, that source's controller loses that much life unless they sacrifice that many permanents. And it has madness for 3 black. So if you can madness this guy out, he costs 5 for the 6/6 flying demon with that ability. Cool ability, right? People are probably not gonna block that much when it comes to there's something like a like chump block or whatever. Well, maybe they will because then they lose that much life. Yeah, I don't know. It's I think it's if it just had the sacrifice permanence ability, like obviously it's much better.
Oh yeah.
But people are probably just gonna chump this and lose life. But it is flying, so that becomes less and less of an option if you keep attacking.
Yeah, I mean, you can't Blasphemous Act with this down.
Yeah, you take 13 yourself, or I guess you're never gonna choose to lose 13 permanents. My thing is like
that you can't split it.
Yeah,
Like you can't do some life and some permanents. You have to pick one or the other. So if you have 13 or less life, you simply cannot Blasphemous Act.
You would have to then sacrifice the permanents because you lose the life unless you sacrifice the permanents.
Right. There's no way any board can safely sack 13 permanents unless you're like a Krenko deck or something.
Yeah, exactly. You have all the tokens or whatever.
But then,
anyways,
after resolution, they would have all died from the Blasphemous Act, so they're not there when this trigger resolves.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, this is you know what? I'm always up for a new demon that does something cool, and this is a new demon that does something cool.
Yes.
I'm in. I'm here for it. I like it. It doesn't seem wildly overpowered or anything like that to me, but it does seem like it'll find a home in some cool decks. So yeah, I think it's cool.
Next up is a Zombie Wizard. It's 4 and a black for Bone Miser. 4/4 Zombie Wizard. Whenever you discard a creature card, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. I like where this is going. Whenever you discard a land card, add black. Whenever you discard a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card. This is the reverse of Waste Not.
This is Waste Not. This is the guy from Waste Not, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's the dude. Yeah. And this affects you. So this is when you discard, not when your opponents discard.
Right. Okay. Cool.
I think this is far better just on abilities alone than Waste Not, because Waste Not asks you to do things that some players find unfun and lead to like less interactive games. You're making your opponents discard their whole hand. Yeah. Wheels are a different story because they're getting those cards back. Waste Not still cares about wheels, but so does Bone Miser. And I think I'd rather and if I've got Madness, I can control what I'm discarding. If not my Madness, but like Angie or the other one there, Chainer, I can control what I'm discarding and get what I want from it. Man, I think this card shines in a Nekusar deck where you're wheeling all over the place. Like, just the amount of mana and creatures and cards you draw from that, so good. My only complaint is that I like the enchantment better than the creature version.
Like, you like it as you would like if you had your way. Am I understanding this correctly? You would have Bone Miser just be an enchantment as opposed to a creature, right?
Yeah, because no doubt part of that 5 mana is why we're getting a 4/4. Like Waste Not is 1 and a black. So
Yeah.
like, couldn't this be an enchantment for like 2 and a black?
Can this be like a 3 mana 2/2?
Yeah, like they've done that a lot with these commander sets. They've made really cool creatures, but they've decided to make them like 7/6s. And I was like, I don't care about that body. I want that ability, but you're charging me 7 because of the stupid body that I don't care
toughness,
about. Yeah, make it a 1/1 for 4 with this sick ability.
Yeah, 5 mana. Like, make this 4 mana, and then I don't care what you do with the power toughness. Even 1 less, and I'm way happier with this. But
we're so picky.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're nitpicking a little bit here because overall this card is really fun.
Yeah.
Great abilities. I mean, 3 abilities on 1 creature. I mean, I guess you're gonna pay 5 mana for that, you know?
I mean, I guess the flip side is if they made Waste Not in this direction for us, but it was an enchantment that costs 5, we might be able to justify like, well, you know, it's hard, it's easier to control, so it makes sense that it costs 5. So we're sort of getting a free 4/4 if you were ready to accept the enchantment at 5.
That is true. That is true. Okay, next we have Curse of Fool's Wisdom. Let's talk about your Screaming Bald guys.
Yes.
You got to update that deck and add some of these new cards in. This guy's balding, but he still counts. 4 black, enchantment, aura, curse. You enchant a player with this curse. Whenever the enchanted player draws a card, they lose 2 life and you gain 2 life. Ooh, this is, oh man, I just would hate to be playing my Niv Mizzet deck and someone put this on me. And you can madness it out for 3 and a black, so you get a 2 mana discount if you manage to discard this card. Much like a lot of the curses, I think they're very fun and creative cards, and they're not the type of cards that you just run in anything. But rather, you either going to put them in like a deck that deals with curses and cares about curses, or you're going to put them in a deck that, in this case, is like a drain life type of deck. And I think this, if it's in that type of deck where we're looking to make people lose life and us gain life, this is pretty good. They're gonna, like I said, you throw this on the Niv Mizzet player, put this on the blue player, period, right?
Oh yeah, they're gonna be drawing a lot of cards,
and at the very least, you're gonna be stopping them from drawing extra cards.
Yeah,
when their life starts getting low, and that is also just really good. So
I also think, I also do believe that we should always brew decks with a living sideboard in mind. That is to say, cards that are a little bit narrow in effect, but we should also put in cards that have discard effects that help us anyway. So we can get in these situations where I'll just use it for my bonus discard if it's not that useful right now. I think that's a very useful brewing tool. And the Madness deck is perfect for narrow cards because we're discarding cards for value all the time. And this one we also get to cast for 4. So if there is a Niv Mizzet player, if there is a Peer and Toothy player, that's not a May ability when Toothy dies.
Right, yeah.
So anything like that, I'm sure, I'm happy to throw this down. And if I just have to discard it and not even cast it, I'm getting something for that discard, presumably, so I'm not the most upset.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like the idea of the living sideboard as well. Sometimes hard to fit it in, but yeah, it's definitely something to think about.
Next up is Nightmare Unmaking. It looks scary what's happening to these people. It's 3 black for a sorcery. I think they
just got snapped.
Oh yeah, they're snapping.
I think they just got, no, I think Thanos just snapped them.
Yeah, they're in the middle of being snapped.
Yeah.
But we don't see the 3 other people who are fine, who are just...
Yeah, exactly.
So 3 black sorcery. Choose one. Exile each creature with power greater than the number of cards in your hand, or exile each creature with power less than the number of cards in your hand. That's a greater than less than. There is no equals to on this card. So everything with power equal to the cards in your hand will always live no matter what.
True.
So this is black has Black's home for Wraths for 5 mana. White gets 5 mana Wraths with a little bit of upside. Black seems to be getting 5 mana Wraths that make you choose somehow. I'm reminded of dragons or non-dragons.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this could be Wrath the board if you have no cards in hand, or if you have tons of cards in hand. But anywhere in the middle, it's so risky because, like, you'll be able to get the thing you want unless it is exactly the power of cards in your hand. But it's like I don't want to have to choose. I'm gonna miss a lot of high-profile targets. I'd rather spend 1 more mana and get a full Wrath.
Yeah, like think about it. There's going to be times where like, oh, I want to make sure that I get this one card exiled with Nightmare Unmaking, but the number of cards I have in my hand is off, so I have to play a creature, or I'll have to play this creature out and get it exiled with Nightmare Unmaking just so I can hit the one I really want to. Like,
right?
Yeah, I'm not wild about it. Obviously, it's going to be easier to manipulate this type of thing in this type of deck, Madness deck, where we're discarding a lot and like we're looking to be hellbent or whatever, right? That's a Rakdos thing as well. So like I understand it in that context, but I don't see it like outside of this deck really, a discard type deck, like how much we want to, like if you run this in like black blue, and we got a lot of draw, like maybe we pick the other side of it where we exile them all the smaller creatures if we have like this maximum hand size type style of deck, maybe. But other than these like kind of niche decks, I'm not a real big fan of this card.
Tough one.
Yeah.
Next up is Angsravager. 2 and a red for a Vampire Berserker. Starts as a 3/3. A 3/3 for 3. Pretty good deal. It attacks each combat if able. That's tricky on a 3/3. That's going to make it die a lot. But whenever it attacks, discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. And it has Madness, 1 and a red. It's very weird because you have to attack and you have to discard your hand and draw 3 cards. So there's lots of if I don't you don't want to curve into this because you lose too much. So you want it late, but late it will certainly not survive combat.
Yeah.
Unless you've got unless your whole deck is about ways to like get through damage. But once you're hellbent, I'm like, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
And obviously we're looking to discard in a Madness deck, but now we're putting our hand down to 3. We had to, I don't know. Yeah, I get it, but you have to be super aggressive for this card to be, I think.
So hard to pull off in Commander.
Yeah, too hard to pull off. Not a big fan. I don't know. I would keep, like, if I was doing the Madness deck, like I was going hard on Madness, I'm definitely keeping it in just to see how well it works.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so next is Skyfire Phoenix. 2 red for a 3/3. Flying haste. When you cast your commander, returns Skyfire Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield. I kind of am surprised that it took them this long to make this card. It seems like the automatic Phoenix you would make for commander. Not that's no tea, no shade there. I think it's like I'm happy to have it. I'm just like, oh, hey, it's here. The commander, the Phoenix that cares about commander stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't think it's amazing, but I do think, like, if there's some kind of deck where we're dumping stuff in our graveyard or whatever, it can be reasonable. 3/3 flying haste, though, I mean, it doesn't get, I don't know. It's just not a crazy intimidating. It's mostly like a utility thing you're going to sacrifice or something. I don't know. It's not great.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else is there to say? You get it back. You might get this card 3 times in a game.
Maybe.
The most,
Maybe.
Probably. Yeah.
Next up, we're talking Wildfire Devils. 3 and a red for a 4/2 devil. When it enters the battlefield and at the beginning of your upkeep, choose a player at random. That player exiles an instant or sorcery card from their graveyard. Copy that card. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. So I think this is meant to remind us of Charmbreaker Devils.
Yeah.
But let's be very clear on what's going on here. So it's a 4/2 for 4, which that dies very easily. This cannot get into combat almost anywhere. When it enters and at the beginning of your upkeep. So you're always going to get this once. But here's my big beef with it. The player that you choose is random, but the card that they choose is their choice. So you're going to get the worst card from a random player's deck. So I would want to be able to be like, hey, you only got one kick-ass sorcery. I'm picking you. So I have to get that. But this random player thing means I don't get that luxury. And if I get the green player who's like, yeah, sure, go search for a forest. I'm just like, no, I can't. Like, right? Like,
Burn on you.
So like, I mean, every upkeep that is value. Like, if you can make this last enough upkeeps, you'll eventually start getting good things. But man, like every angle is the opposite choice.
Yeah, you're right. Like, I guess they didn't want to make it you choose the player and then randomly get stuff just because you'd be like, okay, well, I pick you. You only have one thing in your graveyard and it's really good. I get it.
But like,
isn't that the point of the card?
Yes.
Like why would you not want me to do that? That's like, yeah, I get it, but I only get it once, right? Like it's exiled after that. Next time, I do get a random thing. The bummer of this card is that, like, yeah, it's 4 mana, which I actually think 4 mana is a reasonable price to pay for this type of ability, because you're going to get a lot of value off of it ideally. But I think the way this is like, you play this on turn 4, you might not even, like, two players might not even have anything in their graveyard at that point. Probably don't.
Yeah, and like the green player has a cultivate, but like, what if you don't get that player?
Yeah, what if you don't get that player? And then what if they also have, I don't know, some other dumb thing that they can just pick instead? Yeah, you're right. I at first I was excited about this, but I didn't. Yeah, the player at random thing is I think way worse than it looks.
You don't even like that part of the text means you don't even get to do politics with it. Like, no. I can be like, okay, I'm gonna choose you, but I need you to choose that removal spell so that I can cast it on this other player's wicked enchantment. You don't even get to make that deal because it's like, I might not get you. Sorry. Like, if I do, would you do that? But like, I might not get you. What's
the guy who does this ability, but just when he enters the battlefield and you choose a player and then you grab it from their hand?
Oh, do you know that what card? Color is it?
I thought it was Viashino. It's red, but I thought it was a Viashino, but it's not.
It's not.
No,
do you look at their hand?
I think so. Anyways, it's also the reason I thought of it. Oh, no, sorry, yeah. It's also a 4/2, so that's why I was reminded of it. That card is kind of better because at least you're more likely to hit something. Because if you cast it on turn 4, it's like, oh, okay, the player, the spells player has 7 cards in his hand still, so I'm gonna pick something from him, and like, right, odds are I'll get something, right? Like, yes, there's also that random element in that, like, you don't know what's in his hand, but you can at least take a solid guess at it. Whereas, like, man, Wildfire Devils is just gonna miss a lot, I think.
I hate it. It's like, I hate that they teased us so hard with this ability.
Yeah,
this is so cool. Like, Charmbreaker Devils gives you a card back every turn at random. That's awesome. Why not just let me choose the player?
And it boosts its power by like 8 or something.
By 4 plus 4 plus 4. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, they were so close with this card. It's like painfully close to being great.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Let's move on to the next one, though. Eon Engine. 5 mana for an artifact that says Eon Engine enters the battlefield tapped, and you can tap it and exile it and reverse the game's turn order. Okay.
This is very weird.
It is weird. Reverse the turn order. So, like, you basically use this to you can really hose someone, right? Like, so, like,
sort of.
You sort of can, right? So, like, players 1, 2, 3, 4 in a game, right? Let's say I'm player 1.
Right.
So, turns happen. First turn of the game goes, whatever. At any rate, I do this on. So, Sean, you're player number 2.
Yeah.
I do this on your turn, so that then I get another turn right away.
Yes.
Right. And doesn't that kind of hose player 3 really badly? Because, like, he was about to get a turn, but now he's got to wait for you, me, and player 4 to go
Yeah.
Right? Like that really sucks for him
Yeah.
or her. So yeah, like I actually think this card is akin to one of those extra turn cards that then you have to exile. So it's like, oh, well, how good is this really? Except that you actually have to give someone else. You kind of give like player 4 that extra turn also a little bit. You know what I mean? I like it in that it's like very different, and I don't think it's like anything we've seen before. In fact, it's kind of more akin to like an unstable card or something.
Yeah. It exiles itself.
Yeah.
Which
yeah,
I guess it
does.
has to.
Yeah, because we can't, like, you don't want to recur this. It's just going to get messy.
I did read somewhere where the dream, someone was like using like one of Saheeli's spells to like make a token copy of this artifact, and then you keep copying it, and you exile the token copy, and you take every other turn, and in the 4-player game, whoever's opposite you never gets a turn.
Player 3 never gets a turn again. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah, like, I mean, I guess that's not as bad as just the things that get extra turns, in which case you can just, like...
Everybody gets no turns.
Everyone gets no turns.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I can't, like, except for, like, weird experiments and, like, shenanigans like that, like, achievements like that, I can't see the actual game value in this. Maybe if you're building, like, a secret partners meta where you're just like, ooh, if I know that my other partner is on my right, like, they'll take a turn, and I'll give it right back to them. It's like, that's all right. That's like something.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I could see someone doing that Saheeli's thing, that type of thing in like a Duretti deck also, if you wanted, because there are other red cards that do that, that do that type of thing. There's even just some other artifacts that do that type of thing, where you can like exile it and then make token copies of it and stuff like that. So
oh yeah, like prototype portals and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so yeah, that's interesting. Cool card. I love seeing new, neat, and fun design like that. So
yeah. Next up is it's a land. It's our first land. New land, Sanctum of Eternity. It's a land. It taps to add colorless, and it comes to play untapped, so you don't lose tempo. 2, tap. Return target commander you own from the battlefield to your hand. Activate this ability only during your turn. Well. This is incredible. This is the card that means, like, no one can touch your commander now, right? If they put it under a weird enchantment, it's back in my hand. If they steal control of it, it's back in my hand. Your commander's fine, and it'll always be in your hand, so that 2 of the cost is like you'll permanently be paying 2 tax, never more. Again, it's only sorcery, only during your turn. It's not only sorcery, but it is only during your turn. So if they kill it off of your turn, it will go back to the command zone. You'll have to find another way to do that. But this is a fantastic ability. If I've got an ETB commander, I'm just gonna kind of like how Obsidat, was it Obsidat? Who is almost never on the battlefield, just like, I'm going to cast it and bounce it, and it's going to live in my hand for 1 cycle of the table, and on my turn, I'll cast it and bounce it again and get more ETB stuff.
Yeah, that's something you can do for sure. I just like it as a way to protect it against, like, as I was saying earlier, the lockdown enchantments and stuff.
Yes.
Which, you know, if those are run a lot in your meta, then this is a great card to have. If you never see those cards, then I don't think you're going to run this land very often.
Yeah.
Monocolored decks can just run it without fear, though. Basically, obviously, because it's a colorless land. Yeah. Cool though. I believe this is the only new land in the set.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, and I like that they make these lands that deal with commanders directly. It's really cool.
Why not all the decks though?
I know this one should be in all the decks, right? Like, if you're gonna make one new land, put it in all the decks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Because in the chance it does become this like crazy thing, like, we're gonna want more of them than just the ones in the one deck.
Yeah, I want more than one.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up now with some reprints. Should we do reprints as this whole other thing, or just tack them on here?
I mean,
let's just tack them on here.
Let's just tack them on.
So, as a bonus, we're going to talk about the reprints. We're not talking about all of them because there are so many. We want to talk about
all of the
ones,
rest of them.
we're going to talk about the notable reprints.
Yeah.
To us, these are mostly reprints that were, we felt really needed a reprint. The prices maybe we're getting up there. This is going to hopefully create a nice little drop in price. So us budget players can get our hands on them, or just simply a supply thing where we just want to see more of them out there and more of them in the world of Commander. Let's just get it started right away with the first reprint. This was like the poster child for it. You guys are getting great reprints this year. And they did start off with a very strong one. It's Seedborn Muse, 3 green for a 2/4. Spirit, untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. This is a great card, powerful card. We're talking about a $9 to $11 card in some certain sets. Was reprinted in Battle Bond, and has sort of shrugged off that reprint, and still it's like an $8 card. But I'm happy to see Seedborn Muse reprinted. It's a powerful card, and I think it's always nice to have the supply up of stuff like this.
Yeah, thank you, Wizards. Wizards thinks.
Wizards thinks.
We also got Temp with Discovery. This is the classic example of do not do this. It's 3 and a green for that sorcery. Tempting offer. So you search your library for a land card, put it to the battlefield. Any land. Could be a non-basic. That's what makes this great. But each of your opponents gets to also take that deal. But for each opponent that does, you get to search another one. The classic move everyone talks about is like, well, I'm just going to search for Strip Mine. And just strip mine the extra thing that you got. Which I never understood as a move. Because now you like... But then, like, I'm still up 1 and you're down a strip mine. Like, you have 1 less tool in your deck to deal with problematic lands. Like, I mean, you don't have to use it then. But anyway, I also think, like, just don't do it. Just don't.
Yeah, just don't do it. The correct thing is to say no. Another, like, $7, $8 card that's hopefully going to drop a little bit in price. The great thing about this is it's any land and it comes in untapped. So even if you pay 4 mana, it's not the end of the world if everyone says no. And mostly people say yes. Next is Solemn Simulacrum. We're getting a reprint of the Sad Robot. We all know this one, 4 mana for the 2/2 golem that comes in, and you get to ramp for a basic land, and when it dies you draw a card. New art, which is
very
notable.
cool art.
And like, I love that it gets new art, but like, that's gonna make this even more expensive.
I know.
It's like,
this
it's
doesn't
like,
make existing Solemns cheaper.
No, it doesn't. I appreciate the fact that they were like, let's put some new art on Solemn Simulacrum. It's a great card. Everyone loves it. People love when we put new art on stuff. It's like, yeah, but man, you just made this $1 more expensive than the ones we already had.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
Please.
I mean, I can't say I'm unhappy because I am just also happy that there are more Solemns out there. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not going to do what we want it to do. This is what I think is at the heart of these of our problems with the reprints. As you just heard, or as you've heard over the course of a few YouTube videos, we're basically super stoked about the commanders and the new cards in these sets, right? I think that in general there's a lot of awesome stuff, and like just very happy to have these new cards floating around. But when it comes to reprints, it's like they don't get why we want reprints. You know what I mean? Like it's like they don't get, like, yeah, thank you, like Wizards thinks for putting Solemn Simulacrum in one of the decks. Sure, because when I buy that deck, guess what? Solemn's great. Very happy to have it. But like, the reason we want them in the decks is so that they will be available to people and they will bring the price down, and then we can, you know what I mean? Because these cards are so good.
Yeah.
But instead they're like, it's in one deck and it's got new art. It's $20 or whatever. You know, it's like, it's not gonna do what the whole point of it was. In fact, it's doing the opposite.
Well, let's carry that over for the new Lightning Greaves art too, right? Like, Lightning Greaves is a much needed reprint. We've been crying for this reprint. Stop reprinting Swiftfoot Boots, which they did, but like, why not 4 Lightning Greaves? Why not 1 per deck? Same problem with Solemn Simulacrum. I'm also a little bit perturbed that they used the uncommon mana, like, symbol, set symbol on this, which I know there's no, Andy pointed this out, there is no official guideline that says uncommons appear in 2 or more decks, commons appear in all 4, and rares appear in 1, but like, just put the rare symbol on it. Like, if you're gonna, like, you're just teasing us. You're like, hey, guess what? Lightning Greaves, uncommon, but only in one deck, and new art, and expensive.
Yeah, I will say this is actually not new art, strictly speaking.
Isn't it?
No, this is actually Magic Online art. I knew I'd seen it somewhere before. I was like, man, I recognize that, and it looks kind of old. Like, the art for some reason rings as old to me. It was in the Magic Online, like the free promo version of Lightning Greaves, which is why it's 0.04 ticks on Magic Online. Also, Commander's not a thing there.
It is also.
That's where this art came
from. It is also the Friday Night Magic promo from 2009.
Oh, yes, it is. Look at that. Yep, there it is. Yeah, so it's not new art. It's just reprinted art, which isn't so bad. And actually, I like the other art better, but and it is cheaper. So this one is actually doing what we wanted, I think. Yeah, I mean, same thing. But like, I was saying to Sean earlier, like, put Greaves in 2 decks. Like, if you're not going to put it in everyone, like, can you at least throw it in 2?
It's a real like. Okay, so I mean, I'm not. I
don't want to just sit here and complain about the reprints again this year.
Yeah.
Because I think these decks are better than last year's decks.
Yes.
They're not that much better when it comes to reprints. Like, yeah, sure, they didn't do a thing they did with the Lands deck last year where they just didn't include any of the stuff they should have. I don't think that's happened. But they are printing Greaves and they are printing Solemn, and that's great. It's just that, like, it just takes like 0.5 more effort and thought from them, and it's perfect, like, and then we don't have to complain anymore.
Yeah, like, there's a subtle difference between giving me the value of the deck and bringing down the price of staples, right?
Yeah.
Like, these decks have value in them. Like, if you add up the value of the cards, it's like, yeah, sure, great. I'm getting my money's worth when I buy these. But what we're asking for more specifically is, like, print the hell out of staples. Like, keep the staples cheap. Otherwise, you're creating an environment, you're supporting an environment, you're helping fuel an environment where, like, you need to have money to play, or your deck you have to watch other decks do more stuff than you. And that sucks as a new player. It sucks to be a new player, to buy this deck, and then see players like, oh, you got to get this card. It's like, oh, that's a great card. I would love one of those. And you look it up, it's like $10. I didn't think that would be $10. It's just a guy that gets a land, and when he dies, he draws you a card. It doesn't seem that fancy.
Yeah.
But it's...
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough. But let's press on. Let's see what some of the other ones we thought of noting are. Thran Dynamos back, 4 mana for the artifact that taps to add 3 colorless mana. This one was getting up to around $5-6. So hopefully this will bring this one down by a few dollars for a while.
It's in one deck.
It's in one deck, and this is the thing. These things, they shrug off reprints when you only put them in one deck. That's the thing, right? They might drop $1 or $2 around the time the sets come out, and then that's it. Like, again, I really don't want to just harp on it, but, like, I feel like back, and maybe I'm wrong. Like, am I wrong? Like, earlier Commander decks felt like there were a couple more of these key reprints, and therefore I felt like there was less complaining back then. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just wasn't as involved in it back then.
Well, but here's what was also different, right?
2-color decks, like.
But there wasn't like signets weren't becoming scarce, right? Like, we didn't have a scarcity problem with these things. Like, some cards got up to $10, but if it wasn't $10, it was a nickel. Like, our gimmick used to be gumball cards. Like, do you know how hard it is to find a gumball card that's, like, good anymore? Like, cards just don't stay cheap. Like, even like bulk, like, you used to be able to make a cool deck out of junk rares. Those same junk rares now are $1.50 a piece. So that same deck now costs like $80.
More people playing more Magic.
I mean, that's good. This is great for the game. And we always say, like, oh, the more people play Magic, the better it is for us Magic players, because they'll make more product for us. It's like, I guess they will, but they're not reprinting a lot of products for us.
We always just kind of assumed that.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay. And these are getting reprints. It's just not, I guess it's not just at the rate we, like, would love, but I am still happy to see them get reprinted. Don't get me wrong. Ghostly Prison is back as well. 2 and a white for the enchantment. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. I was surprised to see that this card is back up to like $6-7.
It's a staple in a white control deck.
Yeah, because when it was reprinted in Commander 2016, and I think it was Conspiracy, it was an uncommon, right?
Yes.
It really dropped down in price, but so hopefully this one will still be. I think it was like as cheap as like $2 back then, like even like $1 maybe. It was really cheap for a while.
Chaos Warp, another staple for red. This is currently pre-selling for like $3.54. So that means it was probably a little bit higher or around there. Like that's a lot for a red staple.
Yeah, I personally don't consider this to be a staple anymore, unless outside of mono red, just because I think we've got enough other stuff to deal with things in the other colors. I agree in mono red. Yes, this is a card you're gonna really want to have, and I guess red black too, just because it deals with enchantments in an easier way. But I really don't think this card is as much a staple as it was when we first started playing Commander.
I mean, it certainly won't be if it's $4.
Yeah. Next we have Sun Titan, which is a card that we've always loved to include on our decks. It's a white staple, and it's it was up around $4 or $5. Hopefully this one bringing it down a little bit more here with this reprint. Get back down around that $3 range, and snag a few and throw them in your decks.
This one got expensive. Like Clever Impersonator was up to like $6-7. The 2 blue clone, but it gets to be any non-land permanent. That's what makes it way better than the average clone. And it was a mythic at the time. So a very, very powerful clone. Reasonable that it costs a bit more, but let's bring that price down.
Yeah, see, I'm happy to see Clever Impersonator, and it's a little different than like Sun Titan, right? Like Sun Titan is a white, like I said, white staple. You have that in a lot of white decks. Clever Impersonator is just a mythic from Cons, which was, a well-drafted set. So this was never a crazily expensive card. This was never like a $10, $20 card or anything like that. But like the Cons price, even with the announcement of this reprint, is $6, and the Commander 2019 is $3. So I bet you'll even see this go down a little bit more once people start cracking these. And this is a great card to have. This is just because it was a mythic from a set and it wasn't reprinted yet.
Yeah.
Very happy to see that.
Oh, this next one's great too.
This is a good one, yeah.
Yeah, Geth, Lord of the Vault. This was $10, push above 10 probably. This is the 6-mana zombie. It's a 4-black zombie 5/5 with Intimidate. X and a black. Put target artifact or creature card with converted mana cost X from an opponent's graveyard to the battlefield under your control tapped. This is repeatable reanimation from opponents' graveyards. Then that player puts the top X cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard so you can keep it rolling. And if your opponent has a lot of small things, you can do this multiple times a turn. This card is pure value. Essential in like mill decks, reanimator decks. Love this kind of card. And again, this is a great reprint too. This was like a above $10 card. Thank you.
Right. According to the price history on this, it never really got much over $10.
Well,
although I think although I'm with you, I thought I remembered that it was way more than that. But yeah, a $10 card that I think is only $10 because it's played in Commander and it's a mythic. So again, only printed in Scars of Mirrodin previous to this. So it's about time this one got reprinted. Very happy to see this one. Like, yeah, these are reprints. I'm very happy and like totally fine. Like, we're not talking about staples here. We're just talking about cards that needed reprints. I'm happy to see it.
Yeah.
Along the same lines is Relzeric. 2 blue-red for the 4 loyalty Planeswalker. This one was from Dragon's Maze and had gotten up to like $7-8.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not a real super good Planeswalker, but it's fun. It's the +1, you tap target permanent, then untap another target permanent. That's a good ability for Commander.
Yeah.
-2, Relzeric deals 3 damage to target creature player. Less useful for Commander. And the -7 is always super fun. Flip 5 coins and take an extra turn after this one. Take an extra turn after this one for each coin that comes up heads.
Yeah.
So Cinder Split and like the coin deck,
yes,
brings it down if you want to get that. So I was kind of happy to see Relzeric be reprinted just because like it's a pretty niche little Planeswalker that was just like crawling up in price for no real reason, right? Like, so it's nice to see it reprinted and come down a few bucks.
Yeah. Grimoire of the Dead is another card that was like $4 or $5, something like that. This is a mythic artifact for mana. 1, tap, discard a card. Put a loyalty counter on Grimoire of the Dead. So
Study counter. But
Study
yes.
counter, I'm sorry. So you got to discard a card, so that sucks if you're not a Madness deck. That's a real cost. But once you have 3 study counters, you get to tap and remove 3 study counters and sacrifice it. Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. They're also black zombies. That's pretty good.
So it's Rise of the Dark Realms, the long version.
Yeah.
But
and
that's a powerful ability.
Presumably you're discarding creatures, so you will get those creatures back. You are investing in your future.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is a card I remember looking at this card when we were one of our old decks that wanted to fill up our graveyard. It might have even been the like original mill deck, and being like, oh, this card's cheap. I'm gonna use this, and it's basically Rise of the Dark Realms, which was expensive. Yeah, like this card used to be like $1.50, and now it was up to $3-4 and rising, and this stopped it from rising. This reprint.
Yeah.
That's another thing I like to see, right? It's like this card is so jank. I love it, but like there's no reason it should be like a $4 or $5 card, man. Like, so yeah, nice little reprint here. Keep that price under control. Just 2 more here to go, and then we're done. Jukka Bog, another one that was steadily rising up as it is. It's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, you got to throw a Jukka Bog in it if you got black mana. You know, you gotta exile a graveyard.
You got
Jukka Bog was up to like $4.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? No way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get it back down to, I don't know, $2 apparently is what it's selling for right now. I remember when these things were 50 cents.
It was a common.
Yeah. It was a common in World Wake.
Yeah.
And since then, it's been reprinted in Commander, the original Commander, 2013, 14, 17, 18, 19, and a Commander anthology. And despite that, it's still a $3.52 to $3.50 or $3.50. That's pretty crazy. That's how many reprints that this common land that comes into play tapped and only taps for black is selling for.
Last card we're going to talk about is another land. It's Cinder Glade. It's a land mountain forest. It has both land types, which is the important part. It's fetchable. Cinder Glade enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands.
So Cinder Glade is representing the, I don't know, what do we call these again? The Tango lands?
Are these buddy lands?
The buddy lands. They're not the check lands, right? Those are the fast ones.
Check lands check if you have one of them.
Right. So
these
ones
need you to have.
What was it? Remember Jimmy and Josh came up with the good name for this that we were using at the time. I can't remember what it was. The reason I remember the Tango one is because that's the one everyone didn't like. But yeah, these are like budget versions where it's like we can search them up with fetches and things that care about like land type, and they're the dual lands. We like that a lot. And these were, same thing, getting up there, $3-4 depending on the land. And it's nice to see them reprinted. And these are the types of lands I love seeing reprinted in Commander product.
Yeah,
because it's the same thing, right? Like you're not going to add too much money to the deck cost with this, but you are getting these cards into players' hands, and they're great.
So okay, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
First of all, thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking through, audio listeners. The fact of the matter is, there will only be more players playing Commander as time goes on.
Yeah.
So like an old mythic, if it does not get reprinted, it will only go up in price because people rarely just sell cards. Like no one's going to sell a Grimoire of the Dead before this reprint because it's like, what are you going to get from me? Like 50 cents? I don't care. Like it's very rare to do that. But so we are stuck in a position where we will only ever see cards rise up in price unless they reprint them. And if the cards are at all in demand, they will rise up so fast. Like we can see Sol Ring is invincible to reprints. That's the one card they put in 4 decks, and it gets up to $5 every year. Like Sol Rings get to $5.
because
Constantly.
it's, and just because it does go in every deck, it's
Sure.
like you can't print enough of them if you're printing them inside of decks,
So you can't. Wizards is in a tough spot. I recognize that, because you can't just make commander decks staples and 15 new cards. Like, that would be so boring. Like, no one would want that. So the solution, I beg of them, do something like something you can get in a pack, like packs of cards. Make like, give me packs of cards with like cool commander cards, and make Cyclonic Rift a mythic in that random set, and make like, put that new Terramorphic Expanse from Modern Masters that's $20. Like, put that one in there at rare. I don't know, man. Just you got to find a way to get more Lightning Greaves into the economy.
That's true. And like, it's tough because you can't do it in these precon type things, or they've just shown that they can't or won't. And I get it. The secondary market then becomes a problem, whereas like you can't just throw like $300 of value in these things, because then they're going to sell for $100 and $150 or whatever it is, right? Like,
yeah.
And yeah, you made a good point earlier when I brought up that like we didn't really talk about these decks the same way a few years ago. Well, there wasn't remotely the same amount of demand back then, right?
Yeah.
So things have changed, and I know they're talking about it. I know Mark Rosewater on his blog like asked, someone mentioned about like a pack of commander stuff, and he would be like, is that something people would be interested in? And everyone was like, yes. Yes, man, yes.
Yeah.
So like, are they gonna do? But here's my thing: is like, isn't that just what Conspiracy is? Like, isn't Conspiracy just a set of or Battle Bond for that matter? Like, just a bunch of commander stuff that we all were so happy that they reprinted.
Yeah, Battle Bond was that, I think.
I think it was, right? Because they're not going to just reprint these packs of commander stuff without it being a limited environment as well. Like, what's the point? They're not just going to... Because then all the packs are going to be like, well, you're going to get, these possible cards. The EV is going to be so high on them. They're going to be selling these packs for like $20, and then we're still going to be mad about it.
Yeah. Maybe the lesson is...
I think they're just. I think it's just like throw some of these cards into Battle Bond sets. I don't know. Keep doing that. Like, it's so hard. Like, I'm not nearly as mad as I was. I'm not mad at all.
No,
actually.
I'm not. Actually,
last year I was mad just because it seemed like they were promising us these decks, and then you open them and they're like, "What is this? This isn't what you said it was." Whereas this time around, I'm at least happier. I think it's the same power level, but I think they managed to give us better stuff. I think the reprints are a bit better. I think we highlighted a couple here that we're really happy with, right? Like Seaborn Muse, right? Solemn's back. Yes, we use more of them? Yes, but and it's at least it's back, and so on, right? So I think we've seen an improvement here. I think I feel heard.
Yes.
By the people at Wizards. I do. I feel like, all of us as a community, all of us as players, all of us as content creators as well, all the different content creators who like reached out and like had people on our shows. I think we were heard. I felt like he was just like basically as passionate as we were about Commander and about wanting to make it good. And I do think he made good on that promise. I don't think it's like perfect, right? But I do think that we saw some improvement here with this year's set, and overall, I'd say I'm pretty happy.
Yeah. I am too. And like, let's look at the big picture here, right? We are deeply enfranchised players, right?
Yes.
We want more players playing the game. That's just good for everybody. I know we kind of were cheeky about it before, but this is true. The more people that play Magic, the more LGSs do well. The more LGSs open, the more tournaments, the more events. The community grows stronger. And it is, let us show our new players the positivity of this game. How fun janky decks can be that are budget, right? We still keep to about $100 per deck because they're still fun that way, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to have Lightning Greaves and Psalms and Aquaman and Cyclonic Rift in every single deck. You really don't. Or fetch lands. So let us recognize that we wanted some more. Let's say our piece, but let's also like not let's also focus on the positive, right? This is a choice we can do too, right? Look at, we're getting fantastic new commanders. Isn't that the most important part? Like, I really don't care if I have another Seaborn Muse, but this new Sultai commander is so rad. Like, that's very fun. So, like, ultimately, that's the win, right? So, like, let's focus on that a little bit more. We've said our piece. We're going to trust that they will make our feelings known, but we're going to understand that there's still a lot of great stuff. And all you new players out there, it's not all doom and gloom, right? Buy one of these decks. You will have a ton of fun with them.
New player.
Oh, hi, Harry. You're a new player.
He's a new player. I agree, Sean. I couldn't agree more. I don't like complaining, and I'm happy that I didn't feel like I needed to do it as much this year.
Yeah.
And, we kind of were like, oh, please, just a few more staple reprints. But, like, other than that, I'm actually pretty cool with everything. And I just want to end on a positive note of saying, again, #WizardsThix. For making these awesome commanders. I really do think that we got 4 new commanders for each deck. That's 16 new commanders, and I think of those 16 commanders, like, I don't know, 15 are like excellent, maybe 14. Like, maybe there's only 2 commanders I can think of that were like, oh yeah, that's okay. I'm not super stoked about playing that, but like, but they're all still good though. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
None of them are just like tanked garbage that I'm just like, this sucks, I'm not playing with this. No, they're all pretty cool to excellent. Yeah. Like, most of them are A+, as we've said. So I love it, man. I gotta say, I think we saw improvement. I think our voices were heard. So kudos to those people who had the voices, and to those people who had the ears to hear the voices. And I think overall we came out with some pretty cool stuff this year. And can't wait to get some of these cards in my hand and start playing with them. Battle the Brews.
Baby, yes, I cannot wait.
Yeah, okay. Well, again, thank you, everyone, for sticking with us this long. It was a real long one, but, this happens once a year. We got to go deep on it. And thanks for watching this particular video as well. So, everyone, if you like what you see, go check us out on YouTube. Check us out on iTunes. Go hit our Patreon up, patreon.com/commandersbrew. It's been a lot of fun, and we will see everyone for the next Deck Tech.
Sounds good to me. Bye, everybody.
Sounds great. Bye.
Bye, Harry. Big thanks to all our patrons who make these episodes possible.
Yeah, and if you want to check out more comedy videos, check out our Brews News playlist.
Make sure you follow us on Twitch TV to see when we play live.
If you want to chat with us, head over to Twitter. We're @CommandersBrew.
And please hit subscribe to ding the bell and find out when we got new stuff coming out.
See you next time.
Bye.